Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you all making the time to attend this May 2024 ICA meeting. We have several people who are dignitaries in their own mind. I welcome them all. I don't see anybody wearing a big square blue name tag. If somebody sneaks in and I missed it, I apologize. But regardless of who you are or the size of your name tag, I appreciate you both being here. Here's some more folks coming. Just real quickly, because we've got lots to discuss, I want to give you a brief recap of the last call. I mean, you're always welcome to view recordings of the past discussions. And if you haven't seen, we do now have on the Rotary Zones 33-34 TV YouTube channel our own playlist. And we've got the recording from the past 3 months on there. You're welcome to go back, encouraged to share those with other people. But for purposes of last month, we started by sharing our President-elect Stephanie Yurchik's vision of how to best apply the Rotary Action Plan at the club level. She boiled that down into 3 steps, if you'll remember: retaining members in the existing clubs, attracting members to the existing clubs by making the experience irresistible, and then, of course, for purposes of our focus, starting new clubs, which in and of itself requires attracting new members in its own right. So arguably, as ICAs, we normally focus on this third item, starting the new clubs. And then if you'll remember, Marie Howard from District 7710 shared her district success story and how to apply those principles and how that led to great results in a new club in her district called the E-Club of Raleigh International. And then we touched on that new club tracker that we'd been developing and is now available for everybody's use as they see fit. Now, let's move forward a couple of weeks after that call. District 7305 ICA, Al DeLucia, and I facilitated a breakout session at the Zone 33 District Leadership Seminar in Glen Allen. It was titled Innovative Membership, Rebuilding the Workbench to Fit New Pegs. We passed out a copy of that new template. We also put that info sheet that we've all seen that has the various types of clubs and meeting formats up on the big screen. So, that talks about what is a satellite, why choose a satellite, how can we make it more affordable. We did all those things, but then we kind of got off track a little bit, and we asked the question of the room: is Innovative Clubs still the right name or an accurate description of what it is we're doing? And you can ask the folks that were there in the room. Rich Salon was there, Hugh Dawkins was there, a few others. We nearly started a brawl by asking that question. There were people that came out with all kinds of new names, innovative membership models, innovative membership types. There were people that thought they were in the public image section that got a very rude awakening and found themselves in membership. Even they were getting involved in the conversation. Let's call it innovative practices. Let's call it alternative club options. The template's not really a template. It's a path to success, not a new club tracker. What are you talking about? Man, it went wild. If we expect those that don't regularly participate in those calls to understand what we're doing, the moral of the story is we need to make sure we're delivering the right message. So, 4.5 years ago, when this ICA thing got started, innovative, I think, was the right word. But now that innovative is not as bright and shiny of a term, maybe now it's not the right word anymore. Maybe we need to talk or find, different terms that represent attracting the right people in the right ways and designing models that greet any new member. Maybe it's a smaller team approach that we need to continue to discuss, or making the existing discussion more concise and sharing our time. I'm not sure. But for purposes of May's call, let's focus on what it might take to get as many of the informations turned into goals reached. And not just because it's almost June 30th, because we all agree and acknowledge that our efforts have to be continuous, not in 12-month sections, but all the time. July 1 is arbitrary in that sense. Yes, that's invoice day, but that doesn't mean the day that you start with your foot back on the gas, and it doesn't represent the day after you're allowed to take it off for some reason. So one of the things that I'd mentioned in the reminders of the meetings was we were going to try to go around the room and figure out where people are, either at least in their minds, if not in their efforts, in taking those clubs that are in the yellow columns of information and instead making moves to get them into the green. We've had a couple of people, first of all, I've gotten no pushback on this. I was a bit surprised. I really thought people would say, well, I don't want picked on. I don't want called on. I don't want to have to speak. I don't want, and I've gotten nothing but positive feedback. So for that, I appreciate all of you for doing that, because there is an accountability factor in this. Our director, Jeremy, says, look, guys, we need to know. That was the whole reason we created that template, was to figure out how yellow these really are, how close to green these really are. So I appreciate everyone's willingness to share. We've had a couple people volunteer to go first. That should break the ice. I'll be glad to honor their request. And maybe that'll help other people be encouraged to share just very briefly where they are, whether it's the district ICA, his or herself, or somebody that speaks on their behalf. That would be great. Brett, you were the first one to want to go first. If you'd still like to go first, I'd be more than happy to let you do that.
No, I'll pass because I don't.
After all the positivity I just gave you, and you went, no, I don't think so.
Well, because I don't have comments about the tracker. I have comments about something else. So
cool. Yep.
I'm happy to talk about that, but if that's what you want to have a discussion on, I don't have anything to add.
I will. I'm at the very least hopeful that everyone will share in 2 minutes or less where their district's efforts are in moving clubs forward. If there's any of those other things you'd like to discuss.
Yeah, so I'll let you know what we're doing. We've got so Megan can't be here, so I'm the DGE for our district. And we do have a new satellite club that we're hoping to form. It's an educator one in Warren County, out of the Warren County Club. It was a teacher that Michael Williams, who some of you may know, the president of that club and our youth coordinator. He is working with he's an educator himself. So he's working with another teacher about setting up a satellite club for his club. So I think we're probably looking at more opportunities like that throughout the district, where we can build off of either the satellite club, satellite club concept, but either whether it's professional based or whether it's a cause based offshoot. So that's what we're looking at 7570.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. Tony Santori, I know you're dying to share.
I just want to get it over with.
Yeah, well, that's fine too. Stan Keeler sent me your proxy report.
Stan isn't on yet, and he gave me a list, and this is where we stand right now. Our Mount Olive Club established their first meeting. They've got 9 members in the satellite club. 3 rejoins and 7 new ones. October 3rd, they had their first fundraiser, and they are running the satellite with 10 active members in the club listings. That's our Mount Olive Club. Our Rotary and the University of Mount Olive, they've started the Rotary Club. They have 17 units. Students filled out the apps, and they have a school coordinator. They plan on becoming official start of the fall semester with 30 students. That's a Rotary Club. Goldsboro Three Eagles, they're establishing a satellite club on the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. That club originally was started on the Air Force Base. They're trying to get airmen.
I have the rice and that stuff and some tomatoes.
Excuse me?
Just a little background. I got it. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay. Basically, they haven't. They're still in the beginning stages and the talking stages. Our Wilmington Club has established its satellite club. They've got 6 members in DAC-DB, and it shows, and they're meeting every Saturday with 5 satellite members and running with 7 active members. Okay. Rocky Mount, Brenda Shaw. She started the Red Oak Club. She's in the process of seeding a new club. We're not there yet, but we're moving forward. Newburn Breakfast has started a companion club. Right now, they have 10 young folks, and they're getting ready to meet for the first time. So they're trying to pick up more young people from the New Bern Club and the New Bern Breakfast Club as a companion club. But they've actually got 10 younger folks that are going to be like an impact club to the New Bern Breakfast Club. Washington, they're still working on their teachers, the teachers club, and it hasn't moved forward much. And Greenville Noon is working on organization a new club, and their estimate start a new satellite club for younger folks, and it's starting on. They will have a fall startup. So that's where we are.
Man,
Some
that's
good, some
fantastic.
bad.
That's fantastic. You set the bar pretty high. You've talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things going on at once. Anybody have any questions for Tony about any of the things he mentioned? If not, we'll just keep our foot on the gas, so to speak, and move. Chris, Justice.
How many of those do you expect to charter before June 30th?
I think we will probably get 2 chartered before June 30th, but I don't know for sure. But it looks like very well that the New Bern Breakfast Club could charter, and so will the Wilmington Club. And we'll work on getting them done before June 30th.
Great. Chris, Justice, your hand was up next, sir.
Thank you, Sean. All right. So first of all, I want to address the abysmal District 7690 membership loss number. I blame John Spillman completely. I feel like he is solely responsible. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think that number is a little bit inflated for District 7690. The way we structure our awards is that we do a measuring period from April 1st to March 31st for the purposes of our district achievement awards. I think that does result in the normal June dump happening a little bit earlier for our district than it does some other districts. So I do expect us to level off and not experience as bad of a drop off in June as some districts might. That being said, we still have some headwinds, and I think we can close the gap some with our innovative club initiatives. Couple of things going on. We are working hard on our membership summit set for August. We are already promoting that with the upcoming DLT. I think that's 2 weeks out on a Saturday. We do have an impact club session. I'm going to be doing 2 of those sessions, and John Spillman's actually going to be doing 2 Discover Rotary sessions during our DLT. So our particular DLT, the way it's structured, we have a couple of breakout opportunities. And we've got good registration for those opportunities as well. We have 3 strong innovative clubs in the works right now. 2 are going to be impact clubs. We've got applications for both those, and I think both will be launched prior to the end of the year. We also have one of the and I've heard this initiative talked about for years now. I haven't seen a working model, but we are actually starting a retirement community club. We've had the interest, a couple of interest sessions, really good chair for that initiative. So I think I'm very excited to see if that actually bears fruit. So I think that's all I have to report for 7690, and I will yield the remainder of my time to the gentleman from Charlotte.
Chris, would that be you or Mike Walker?
Mike Walker.
All right. Michael, anything you want to add to that? Is there anybody else that's already got plans to have a membership summit? Is it on their calendar anywhere?
We do. Yes.
Yeah.
We are. In fact, Kevin Kendrick and I met this morning to discuss the planning. We have it September 21st, and it's late enough to have the end of year numbers, from the start of August, and early enough to have an impact on the year. We're also doing it again in 5 locations like we did last year, and that was extraordinarily successful. And we had a lot more. We're going to really push having more members from each club, or more leaders from each club attending, since they'll be preparing the plan you know, if the leaders are preparing a membership growth plan, then it's more likely to be implemented. But I'm really not sure what Chris wanted me to talk about otherwise.
Yeah, that was my question. Are you all doing anything together since you're in adjoining districts, or is he just being cute?
well,
I was
time?
Yeah, I was just really wanting to catch Mike off guard more than anything. That was
well, and I will say, I will add one comment of, and then I will be quiet, and that's the, and I'll just mention one club, and that's our Charlotte club is, and we've got other clubs that are doing things with companion club, you know, ramping those up. But the Charlotte club started a Charlotte Leaders Club, and they've got some very energetic young people that are leading this club, and they expect to charter before June 30th. And they're trying to get 20 people to charter, but they've already got enough to start a satellite. They've already submitted the name to RI, and they're getting the applications of the individuals together to submit that. So that's an exciting thing. That's something they've had in the works for a long time to really, they've taken their time to define what it is they really want. But I think that'll be a very, very strong club of young people in Charlotte.
Great. Kevin, is there anything you wanted to add to that, since that seems to be your faction speaking?
Yep, that's my faction. No, I don't have anything to add. I'm looking forward, as Mike said, we had our meeting this morning to talk about the membership summit on September 21st. We are taking very seriously Stephanie's directive to initiate 4 clubs. We actually have a Rotaract chair, a new Rotaract chair that's come on board, and he's had 2 good meetings with our Rotaract clubs in Belmont Abbey, and then another one at Wingate. They've got 2 great presidents coming on board. So we're trying to spin those up. There are several colleges in the area where his club is. That's a Salisbury club. And he wants to get some Rotaract clubs initiated up there. So we are taking her request to get these clubs started seriously.
Cool. Very cool. Renee, looks like your hand's up next. You're muted, dear. You and Barry both.
Hi there. Yes,
Hi.
Barry and I are gonna tag team because I want to talk about a couple things that Eileen mentioned, and then he's got something else. But I will tell you this: when earlier this month I attended, late April, I attended the initiation of a satellite club that was the first of its kind. It's a Spanish speaking satellite. And this is a traditional legacy club that was struggling. Their membership was aging and they didn't really have a lot of excitement. They brought in a couple of new members, one of which was a Latina woman who had fire, and she got them excited and motivated. And she brought in a lot of people from her community, but had no, most of them could not speak English. So they couldn't really connect. So they would work on projects and work together. But over time, as Rotary rules, cleared up, etc., and they realized this was possible, she created this Spanish speaking club. And at the ceremony, watching them do the 4-way test in both languages, watching them take the oath in Spanish, it was beautiful. And so at the end, I told them, I said, you're creating a model. This is a template. This is a great idea. I said, but what you're really doing is creating hope and showing people that this kind of stuff is possible if you're willing to take away the box and throw it in the trash. So I think that we've got some really great stuff going. I'm really excited about that particular event. Then Eileen wanted me to mention that the Louisa Rotary is looking at maybe an impact club. Their geography makes sense because there's like 3 towns within a certain amount of time. So Barry is going to work with them. They're reaching out to military retirement communities. And Earl Bachman, our former membership chair, is exploring satellite club options at some of the 55 and older communities that are in more affluent parts of the community, and seeing if we can create them as satellites, possibly cause-based clubs, something like that. And Barry, I'm going to give it to you for the thing you wanted to talk about.
Can I,
Thank
let me
you.
ask you a quick
Yeah.
question if I might
Sure.
in between. That club, that Spanish speaking club, do you know if it was one of the ones that's been listed as being in formation for a while and now it's actually gone green, so to speak?
I know that has been in the works
Okay.
for 3 years, but I'm not sure if that's like official, unofficial. But I
Okay.
know that they were able, Barry probably has more information about that because having been involved in this probably
Sure.
more from the get-go. But yeah,
Cool.
it's finally, and here's the coolest thing. 12 of them took the oath and started the club. They have 15 more, but what they wanted to do was get those 12 set and ready, informed, because they don't feel like they know enough about Rotary. We connected them with Amy at RI. She showed them all of the courses they can take in Spanish. So they're working with them on that. They want to become informed so when their new members come, they can help them so that they're not, feeling all their way in the dark at the same time. So
Right.
I thought that was really special and sweet to me, that community working together to support each other and say, hey, I don't want everyone to fly blind. We're going to come in, figure it out,
Right.
and then help you.
Cool.
So
Cool.
Barry?
Barry, you've got some icing for that cake, is that right?
The Spanish club, they took Alexandria South had maybe 8 members, whatever, and nobody was under 70, maybe under 75. And the president was 89. And all of a sudden, out of that mire came this group of Hispanic women who have started this club. And I think are going to take it to heights that we never expected they could, but will make it work very, very well.
Great.
And I want to morph over to, there's a guy I met, a Rotarian, a guy named Peter Baca, who put together a video about impact clubs. And he's putting together a impact club hub to take people who can't find a home in 7610. Hopefully they will someday, but they will put together a group of people who only want to do service. And they are going to blast out to all of Rotary what you can do if you don't think without whatever you want to call it, a box. And I have to thank Renee for saying there is no box. And these guys will do something that you have never seen before and will change the face of Rotary. So be aware of that. And John, when we're all done with this, you have to give me a whole big bottle of moonshine.
Deal. Done.
Yeah,
Okay.
so things over here in District 7610 are just on simmer. We're not doing anything.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, our club has added 12 members this year, and we're on the track to add 15.
Wow. That's great. And that's on the traditional membership side, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
not even reflected in our numbers. That's fantastic.
That's because we're very sexy. That's why.
Thank you, Barry, for reminding us of that.
You're welcome.
Rich Salon, one size fits one. What's happening in 7600?
So while I feels like I'm swimming in a sea of yellow, would rather be swimming in a sea of green, better than swimming in a sea of red. But look, District 7600, Central and Southeast Virginia, since the ICA program was formed 3.5 years ago, we formed one club. It was an E-club, 8 members. That club is down to 1 member. So I'm going to start with saying that club is converting to an impact. So there's one. Our best bet to form clubs before July 1st is with Cape Henry Rotary, and they're not forming one, but they're forming 2. One is called a Thirsty Thursdays. It's a happy hour club. Shocking. The other is a companion club within Westminster, Canterbury, which is a huge, extremely expensive assisted living facility. My money is on Cape Henry to pull it off. I don't have an update to the minute. Now, other areas of in 7600 is my home club of Goochland. We held a Discover Rotary event in April 26th. We had 13 people attend, 3 people have applied. Don't think we're going to make it by July 1, but we're going to continue to push, and we've got some momentum. Our Chesapeake Club hosts the 6th best, highest rated arts festival in the United States. That's their thing. And they have a lot of people that meet once every month for a happy hour, part of the committee. And a lot of those people are not Rotarians. Cha-ching! The club wants to start a companion club just for the group that supports the arts festival. So that is happening. Literally,
Great
Chesapeake Arts Festival Happy Hour Club. Newport News Club held a Discovery Rotary about 8 weeks ago. We had about 13 people in attendance, and 10 people said right there, sign me up. We've heard that 5 people came forward a few weeks ago to sign up. I know one person has been inducted so far. So that's also a happy hour club twice a month under this $150 a year active member cost. Same thing in Goochland. This is going to be a no meals club twice a month, $12 a month for you two who wants to be an active member.
Good.
Western Henrico Club has gotten a commitment from the board. They have a chairperson, YB Youngblood. It'll be an evening club twice monthly. They have the geography in mind where they're going to host. It'll be a happy hour style. They're going to make it a pro-business club. Generally speaking, general service, but pro-business, because they see so many people not pushing the business. So they see a market there. Petersburg Breakfast is starting an impact club. They have 8 candidates now. We're going to formulate a Discover Rotary event, including Colonial Heights Rotary, Petersburg Breakfast, and Petersburg, hoping to get 2 companion clubs out of the 3. And Norfolk has a kick-ass president this year. His name is Jeff Wells. The guy walks on the water. He can turn water into wine. He says when he finishes year, a club president in Norfolk, he is going to form a satellite club. Why? Their Norfolk Rotary, their lunch is $30 a pop. That is a huge barrier to membership. They admit it, but they're not going to change it. So they're going to take that same yacht club, make it a happy hour club twice a month, a fraction of the cost, and this guy will get it done. Just won't gain steam till begin July. And last but not least, District 7600. The last startup club we did was 2015, Ashland, Virginia. Last startup club. And I think we lost about 6 since. We found a chunk of geography in the southwest corner of Richmond, Chesterfield County. And we're forming a committee, a few of us, to figure out how and where we form. So not going to happen in the next 7 weeks. I can't deny it. But we're going for a startup, which is something we didn't expect to see in the next 80 years. So, we just the light bulb finally came on in our district. Again, a lot of yellow. Wish it was green, but we're gonna turn yellow into green.
Yep, like you said, better than red.
You have my word.
That's a great report. I see 2 more hands. Let's get to both of those, and then I've got kind of a surprise for everybody. We'll use that as a curveball for a little while. And then if there's more people that would like to report, time provided, then let's do that. Mark, would you like to go next?
Sure. Right. I'll keep this really brief, but right now I've got 1 Rotary Club that's in the yellow. I've got 7 satellite clubs that are in the blue, 3 that are in the yellow, and I'm aware of a couple of satellite clubs that are already meeting, but we're trying to see if we can get them certified. So it's just a matter of like pulling it all together. And I also know of a Rotaract club that's in formation in Rockville, Maryland. So, we got some stuff going through the funnel. We'll see if we can get a few of these to shake out before the end of this Rotary year.
It's great.
So,
by the way, and anybody that's able to correct me if I'm wrong, please do. I don't know that they have to be quote unquote certified in order to be considered by your district as an active satellite. Anybody think otherwise? There you go. Mark, if they meet, whether they've gotten this or not, I say they're green. Anybody wants to disagree, send me an email. That's what I think.
okay.
Cool.
And the whole thing with the certification, and that was just something I pulled offline. I'll use the form, but I guess maybe a little more elaboration on the thoughts on that would be appreciated, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarification.
I will poll the people that are smarter than me, which are most, and I'll let you know if I get a different answer. How's that?
That'll be great, because if that's the case, we can already see we got a couple in the green.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, Sean, for at least the first half, last but certainly not least, would you like to go, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. And I'm in the country, so if it sounds broken up, I apologize. But I'm Sean Murtaugh. I'm the district ICA for 7360. I'm the lesser charismatic and handsome Sean on this Zoom right now. But anyways, I'm here with Dana Orsini, who is our district membership chair. Many of you know him, past district governor, and also Colleen McCluskey, who does our map. So we've had some pretty good success. We've done 3 or 4 Discover Rotary events, and we just did one not too long ago, but we're doing one tomorrow in Harper's Ferry. One of the things that's worked out well with us is we had about 6 months ago a joint Discover Rotary event with a neighboring club in Charlestown, West Virginia. So we're out in the Eastern Panhandle, and it was great. Dana can correct me in the numbers, but we got probably like 11 new members out of that, and Charlestown got a few new members too. But we paid for the first one. We did the Bavarian Inn for those who have been down here in Shepherdstown. And then tomorrow we're doing one outside of Harper's Ferry that the Charlestown Club is going to host. And it's just been super successful. So one of the things I would say is think about your neighboring clubs. We're not in competition with each other. There's probably some opportunities to collaborate. And if somebody's a better fit for a different club, that's great. It's helping out Rotary in general. But we've done a really nice job with that. And the one thing I would say about the satellite club is kind of just looking backwards. But since we've had that satellite club in Shepherdstown, we've had such great membership growth. When I was president a year and a half ago, we raised it by 20% from 70 to 83. We just passed 100. We're like around 104 right now because we just keep getting more and more members. Mostly through the satellite club, but Dana and I were just talking this morning because we had our morning club meeting this morning. We're finding that the energy is parlaying down to our traditional morning club also. So I just think these satellite clubs are a great way to get the word out there and get younger people. The model we work under is we're one club at 2 different meeting times, and that seems to work really well. We're getting younger people, we're getting more passionate people, we're getting community leaders all joining us now. So it's been working really well for us. And I don't know, Dana or Colleen, if you have anything to add, but those are that's my 2-minute speech.
There's actually a question in the chat, Sean. Are those the ones you're mentioning? Are those satellites or more of a companion type format?
The one we have for Shepherdstown is a satellite club. So,
Okay.
You were talking earlier about how do we define ourselves? Do we call it innovative club advocate and stuff? Maybe we just start calling ourselves club advocates, because I think we're almost past the point of being innovative now. We're just getting new clubs set up. But
Well, I didn't mean to stir everybody up telling you about what happened in Glen Allen and then not give everyone an opportunity to discuss that. I'd really like to do that. But before we do, if we can get to that tonight, I do have something that I want to share with you, and it's actually somebody else that's got the sharing. You might recall when we were in Glen Allen, I told the story during one of those breakouts about a club in my district that had an evening group that had done its own fundraiser, raised funds, came back with the money. Parent club said, great, here's the deposit slip. And they said, thanks, but no thanks. We'll be holding on to this money. And it almost felt like it was inevitable that there was going to be a division of, part of that one club and turn into a second standalone entity. It was shortly after that my friend Albert Blackman said, we've got the solution to that problem. Might be too late for your bunch, but it's something that we want to start exploring in ours. And Albert told me the story of how this is going to be set up. And I said, man, you're going to have to show this to me. That sounds like something I might be starting another fist fight if I propose that. He said, nope, it works. I've got graphics. I've got visual aids. I'd love to share it with you. I said, do me one better, share it with everybody. So Albert has very graciously volunteered to be with us tonight. He's got a PowerPoint and he's going to put up on the screen. And I think you all are going to love this because, like Renee mentioned, thinking outside the box, this is definitely outside the box, but it just might work. Albert, floor is yours, sir. Please unmute yourself and take off.
There we go. I was trying to unmute, but can you see the presentation yet? I need to
No,
share
sir.
that again, I think.
It was there a minute ago and now it's gone. Here it comes. Yep.
Okay, you should see it now. One of the challenges that we had was with the satellite club, and was one of the best decisions we ever made here with our particular club. Our club, when I was club president, was 27. We're up to 60 members now over 2 years. And a lot of that growth happened because we created the satellite club. So we've decided to tweak it a little bit. So we now, or currently it's the Rotary Club of Indian Land Evening Satellite. So we wanted to change it to put everything under one umbrella, if you will. So now we have the Rotary Clubs of Indian Land. And under that will be two different clubs. One will be our lunch club and the other one would be our evening club. And I want to go through why we came up with that. So why did we want to modify that particular model? What was our reason for that? Our desire was to keep one club in the area. We did not want to have a separation because the way the satellite clubs are being proposed is after they get about 20 members, they could spin off. Well, we didn't want that. We wanted to keep one big club in the Indian Land area. We also thought that by doing this, we would have a different executive level responsibility for the clubs, that we would have a club president and we would have vice presidents that would run the other clubs. And that'll make better sense when I get to the diagram. And also this was huge for expanding the actual reach of membership when we look at the membership and how we were able to get those. But under the one club, we wanted the branding, the uniformity, the message. We wanted this community to know one Rotary Club in Indian Land with multiple times to meet, but we're still under a single club banner, if you will. So we got the best of both worlds. We get the big club feel, but you also have that small club feel because we have, in this particular case that we have right now, we have 40 members in our lunch club and 20 members today in the evening club. So the intentions for this is not to spin off, to create multiple clubs, because we will have everything under the one umbrella. We have found in other districts, in other areas where we have multiple clubs in a community, if you will, sometimes there's some unhealthy competition, not only internal, but it also spills over to the external community. And we wanted to avoid that. So this was our preemptive strike to try to avoid that by enhancing the satellite clubs a little bit more by creating this one uniform look. As far as the club president will now become more of an operational leader. This is nothing more than a business model, which most of you, if not all of you, would be familiar with because you're running businesses, whether you're an executive, whether you're an entrepreneur. So this one would give the club president the opportunity to be that public figure in the community where they're going out making speeches, where they're going out to where new companies are coming in to talk to the executive leadership of that company, so on and so forth. So the club meetings would be led by, not chairs. We're getting rid of the word chairs and we're calling them club vice president. And that would just be based on the club president's desire. For instance, if the club president wanted to run the lunch club, running the weekly meetings, they could do that. Or they could delegate that to the vice president, which is also the president-elect. Again, that'll make a little bit more sense on the next slide when I get to the actual diagram. And it also created the succession plan, which we already have that when you have a president-elect, president nominee, and president nominee designate. So you already got that in place, or you already have that in place. In this particular case, the actual president-elect or the next club president could be from the vice president of the evening club or the lunch club. That obviously would be determined once you have your official election. Expanding the reach, this was the big piece for us. Huge demographics. I heard you guys mention this several times, as a matter of fact. Some reason these liquid diets that people have, these thirsty, I heard one of you say that one. It tends to attract younger professionals. But not only younger professionals, we also have a situation where we get to engage educators. Educators can't come to the lunch meetings. We have one of the principals that's already joined our evening club already, and that's because it's available to them now. Business owners, if you're an entrepreneur, can't get away from lunch. That's usually the time that you're the most busiest. If you're in a restaurant type business. So we created that opportunity for us to reach out to those folks. And again, having multiple options, multiple times, multiple locations, all still under the single roof. So this is what we have right now. We've got the Rotary clubs with an S of Indian Land. And right now we have two meeting options. You have the lunch club and you have the evening club. In the future, we're thinking that we may have a breakfast or sunrise club. Some of you already mentioned the Rotaract, which is misspelled, Rotaract club, and who knows what other kind of clubs we could have under that umbrella as well. So how does that actually look? Here it is with actual names under it. Our 2024-25 club president will be Michael Olson. So he would have responsibilities for the lunch club and the evening club. Under the lunch club, our president-elect, Bill King, he will be the vice president that's running that club. And they've just now elected a vice president for the evening club, which is Adam Cooper. Now, then you've got your president nominee, got your club secretary, your sergeant at arms, and your club treasurers. All of those, if you will, report into Michael Olson as a club president. Now, we are giving the president-elect or the vice president of the lunch club certain responsibilities. One of his responsibilities will be he's responsible for membership. So he will serve as chair of the membership committee. He will also facilitate the fireside chat sessions as we have those as well. Our nominee, PN, would be responsible for the service projects. So she will run that particular committee. When we look at the evening club, we want that vice president on the membership fundraising committee. And this is what Sean was alluding to earlier, and I'll show you our bylaws as it relates to that so that we can address that a little bit. But in that club, he would get his own sergeant at arms, so they would get that, and he could have an assistant secretary and assistant treasurer that would take care of the, happy dollars, any of the money that comes in, and secretary taking, attendance. But those two positions would actually report into the master club, if you will, or the master level, being the club president, reporting back into the club secretary and the actual treasurer. We also thought about this when it comes to the actual board as well. On the board, you would have four directors, 2 from the lunch, 1 from the evening club, and 1 at-large member. And you can see those names on here, and we're going to have a special election to get to the at-large member. And our directors serve for 2 years in this particular scenario. Now, the big thing here. This is an excerpt from the actual club bylaws, because this is where Sean was talking about this in Virginia. And I said, yeah, well, here's how we're going to handle that. So as a rule of thumb, after the operational expenses have been allocated, the distribution of funds for a specific club cannot exceed the relative ratio set for the club based on the number of members. So in this case, we have 40 members in the lunch club, 20 in the evening club, and that's how that money would be allocated. So that's how we're planning on addressing that from, okay, can I go have a fundraiser? Well, yes, you can. Now, if they have a fundraiser evening club by themselves, is it possible for them to say, well, wait a minute, we want to allocate that to a special project that they're going to do? Absolutely. So that could be classified as, okay, we're not going to use the 40-20 rule. We're going to say, because you guys did that on your own, yes, you would have that set aside and the treasurer would earmark that in a separate account. So that's how we're planning on handling that from a club perspective. Now, the last thing I wanted to share was we wanted to make it even broader than that. Candace was on the call just now, and I think she's had to leave because she said she had to leave at 5:30. One of the things that we're trying to create in the community too is getting at a comment that someone else made earlier too. We're not in competition with one another. So we want to make sure that we're promoting and suggesting that people look at our e-clubs here in the Carolinas as an option for membership, because the goal is for us to get more Rotarians so that we can do more in the community. So that's why this last one's on here. I wanted to show you the P-mail, but I do send out to potential prospects to let them know they have 3 options in the Indian Land area as they consider which club they want to join. So that's it in a nutshell. I wanted to share this with you so that you can have a little feel about what we're trying to do here in Indian Land. It's not approved yet by Rotary International, but they are aware that we're doing this and they are watching us to see how this comes out. Be more than happy to entertain any questions and certainly any suggestions that you may have, because we're in the early stages of this, and we certainly welcome any input to help us fine tune this.
Well, and in the land of where we prefer forgiveness over permission, they haven't bounced you out yet either, Albert. That's a good sign, right?
No, that is profound. And then there's a lot of clubs wrestling with that. It's like, so how does this satellite, how do they fit? You know, who pays what? When we have a social in the host club and the satellite club members, we charge them? What do we, again, there's a lot of things to wrestle with. So, no, you've done a lot of homework, and I do like the one identity. I think that speaks volumes.
Hey, buddy,
For one club.
how cool is that whole thing?
Yeah.
Just the way that every aspect, every time I said, oh, but what about this? Albert's got an answer. Oh, but you can't do that. Yes, you can. Here's how. I was blown away by I think it's a solid model.
Oh,
And
I steal shamelessly. Thanks,
Yeah.
Albert.
Oh, please steal as much as you want.
that was my hope. If we asked him kindly enough, maybe he'd allow us to share that PowerPoint with everybody.
Oh, name your
Be more than
price.
happy. Be delighted to.
Anybody have more questions for Albert? Gary, I see your hand up. Go ahead, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, my question is, the original problem that we heard about at Glen Allen seemed to be the fact that the smaller club or the satellite club, there wasn't much communication with the host club, and they just once they how much my question regarding the presentation that we just saw is that the smaller, it's all one club, but the smaller group, how much autonomy do they have? Does everything have to be approved in advance by the board of directors, or how does that all work? It doesn't seem like it seems like there's a lot of autonomy in this one that we just heard.
Yeah, and Gary, today I am an educator at the university. So, and one of the answers I always provide to kids is, well, in this proverbial answer, it depends, right? It depends on what they're asking. If it's something that requires board approval, absolutely. I mean, they can't be renegades and just do anything they want to do and shame Rotary as far as the brand is concerned. We want to make sure they're in compliance. Speaking of branding, I mean, that's a big one that all of us get in trouble with. So it depends on what they want to do. But we want them to have the autonomy. We don't want them to ever feel, you know what, just like it is with church, forget y'all, I'm going to a new church. Forget y'all, I'm going to spin off and create my own club. And now we've got competing clubs in the community. and community members really do notice that. So we want to keep it all under that one umbrella. So we want to keep them happy, but it has to be within reason. In a business, you're not going to let your operational department do what they want to without the president knowing what's going on. Right? So it's no different. We run it just like it is. It's a business.
And Gary, I'll point this out. You're absolutely correct in that premise that you laid out as far as what really got the story started in Glen Allen. I think the difference from the inside looking out in my own district and the outside looking in at Albert's is that the scenario in my district, there was already a little bit of rogueness, if you will, going on. I think it was motivated by the wrong things, whereas Albert's approach seems to be proactive and preventative and intended to support cohesion and not divisiveness. Is that fair, Albert?
Absolutely, 100%.
Mike Walker, your hand is up, sir. Please.
I'll just make one point that I don't think was made that I think is a huge positive with this, Albert, and that's that by having one club instead of two or maybe even three, that no decision is made about which club somebody joins before they join. They can make that decision after the fact. So the path to joining is so much easier because there's no multi-club decision making, and that decision making gets made maybe 6 months after they join.
Yeah, and Mike, they do get to select up front, but the beauty about it is, if you want to come to the lunch meeting and you're associated or you're tied or you're anchored to the evening, you can do that. We had our new school superintendent speak at the lunch meeting, and several people from the evening club, because we announced who's going to be our speakers, the week before, and several of them are attended. They also have asked the superintendent to speak directly to the evening club, which he's accepted. He's also a Rotarian in the Lancaster Club as well. But the fact of the matter is, we don't want them to think they're tied to one particular club. You are a member of the Rotary Clubs of Indian Land.
But isn't that the model for a satellite or impact clubs right now? I mean, when they join the impact club or satellite club, they are members of the host club. They're all members of the host club, and they have that freedom to go to whichever club they want to go at any particular time. But are you saying that what's happening is that people identify with one club or the other and you don't get much cross-pollination? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'll give you an example. The principal that just joined from the middle school, he will never, ever probably attend the lunch club unless it's the summertime, because his job will not allow him to get away for lunch. He needs to stay at the school. So he's anchored to the evening club. They meet twice a month. We expect to see him every other week at that particular club, or the first and third Wednesday of the month at that club. But the biggest difference, Gary, is that we have no intentions of spinning off. The satellite club, it's been taunted several times to say, once you get to 20 members, you can spin off. We just didn't want that to happen. Now, could they do it? Absolutely. People break off and create different churches all the time. So they could do that, but the goal is, and the challenge for the club president is to create that unity.
I think it's a bigger deal to move from one club to another than a different time, a different meeting time to another.
Yep. John Mauger, you've got your hand up. If possible, let's make
Albert,
this.
I got a couple questions. When you started the evening club, did you start with a certain number? Did you start with 6 or 8? That's the first question. Second question is does the evening club decide, hey, we'd like to do this service project, or are they running that through the board? And is the evening club also looking for members, just like you are at lunch?
Yeah. First question, how it started. 10 members from our lunch club immediately moved over to the evening club, which was a shocker to us because we were told, you're not going to lose many members. Well, it worked out fine anyway, because again, we wanted to have everybody under one umbrella. So 10 immediately moved over. And it was 3 of them were former club presidents. So it really gave us the stability to know that we were putting people over there that knows about Rotary and knows about protocol, if you will. So that was good from that perspective. As far as service projects are concerned, we just started in January, so they don't have a separate service project as of yet. Here's what has happened here in Indian Land for us. We used to have a fall festival, and that was taken off, actually, some would say stolen from us from another group, and now it's back to us. So that's our big service project. They had the service project when they were 15 members strong. Now we're 60. So we're going to definitely need all hands on deck to have, you know, a big festival here in the Panhandle area. So if they wanted to, they're more than welcome to do something, John, to say they want to do a service project, but absolutely it needs to come before the board. You also have to remember that the vice president's on the board, as well as at least one member from that club would be a member of the Rotary Clubs of Indian Land Board. So they've got 2 people and possibly a third if they get the at-large position.
Thank you.
Great. Albert, great presentation, great topic, great insight, great discussion with everybody else. I have about 3 minutes till 6. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. However, I also want to be respectful of the fact that everyone was asked to be ready to make a presentation on what their plans would be over the next 60 days. If there's anybody who represents the district that hasn't gone, that is burning to do so, I would ask you to raise your hand and let's hear what you have to say. In fairness to those people who haven't gotten a chance to deliver, if you would be willing to reduce what you plan to share to writing, I will make sure that everyone gets it so that you don't have to wait 30 more days for the next call in order for that information to be shared. I hope that's an acceptable consolation prize. The other thing we can do is if you were really burning to verbally share what it is, I'll make sure that the districts that didn't speak tonight get to go first. To be honest with you, I really did not know that there was as much going on as everyone has shared. This is fantastic. It's so encouraging, and everyone really came to the table prepared to lay it out there and share with the rest of us what's going on. This has been a fabulous 58 minutes, and I cannot thank everybody enough for being part of this. Make sure those who couldn't make it are made aware that this recording is available. So unless anybody wants to put their hand up and go 30 seconds or less version, the condensed report, not the kind like Chris Justice gave. We'll pick on him since he left the call early. With that said, let's do this. I'd like to put up a slide of my own, just as a little bit of a reminder to everybody. Did everybody see that? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Is that up on the screen? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a reminder of some of the dates that are forthcoming. 6 days from now, May the 13th is the next membership action plan, affectionately known as MAP call. It's at 6 p.m. as usual. The theme for the call is membership magic, crafting a plan for success. The next monthly DMC call for Zone 33 is a week after that on the 20th at 5 p.m. That also happens to be the day that we ask that you've updated your numbers and checked the magical box in that first column on the ICA spreadsheet so that that information can be shared with our director, Jeremy. Zoom formation for May has been canceled in large part because of the timing of the International Convention and some other obligations that Jeremy has. So the next Zoom formation is actually not until after the convention on June the 17th. That is a typical Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And the next one of these calls is Tuesday, June the 4th, 5 p.m. If you want those dates all at once, take a screenshot, snap a pic, whatever you'd like to do, write them down, that's great. Otherwise, I would like to remind you that today is Tuesday, May the 7th. And if you are not aware, it is actually National Roast Leg of Lamb Day. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. I don't know if we have any mutton fans. You certainly don't want to be the person who doesn't get their clubs from yellow to green and end up looking like this fine fellow on the slide.
Also, National Teachers Day.
There
Teacher
you go.
Appreciation Day.
More importantly, National Teachers Day. Anything else for the good of the order anybody would like to share? Otherwise, I have 6 bells. Thank you all for being here. It's always a pleasure. I appreciate all of you. I hope you enjoy these calls. I'll see you in a month. Send me your stuff. I'll make sure it gets around. Be on the lookout for the PowerPoint. Okay? Albert, thank you again for being with us tonight. I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Albert. You did good.
My
son.
pleasure. My
All right,
pleasure.
everyone. Be safe. Take care. Enjoy Singapore if you're going. See you when you get back.